VeeFam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam Sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am so pleased to be joined by the great LSU Tiger, aka Ross Brown, business development with VaynerX, and longtime OG friend. Ross, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, dude, doing great. Thrilled to be here. Love all your sessions, so honored to get to be part of one of them.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. Thanks for the back and forth. But I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspective through this journey. We're 3 years in of a 55-year journey. And again, pardon for anyone listening. I'm in my outdoor office here, so we have a nice kind of like jungle thing going on. But before I always like to start off, Ross, before we get to present day and recent history, I like to go all the way back. So if you can give us the 55-second Cliff Note version on who Ross Brown is prior to ever hearing the name Gary Vee.
Yeah, so real Cliff Note version. I mean, I'll start it in college. High school, I was not the best student, didn't really have it figured out. Things started to kind of click in college, just in terms of like grades and everything. And really quickly got my parents like approval in that, and they were just so excited and like just really fired up, like, oh, he's doing great in school, like they were telling everybody. And like I just really was like feeding off that validation and everything. And I knew they wanted me to get a good safe job, whatever. And I uh started going down the accounting path, which anybody that knows me, has seen one of my posts, interact with me at all, knows that's not me and not my energy. But at the same time, I just really was just craving their approval and their acceptance in that. And was doing really well, was at the top of my class. And senior year, I really just like remember being miserable and just being like thinking, seeing my sister, who was an accounting major, who was an accountant at Ernst and Young, and she was just miserable, sad, crying every day after work, like, and seeing her just be such a joyous person and watching it break her down, and thinking she was more suited for that role than I was. I'm like, what is this going to do to me? And so it's just like really hard knowing I wasn't supposed to be in that route, but I knew that's what my parents wanted. And so that's kind of when, well, my younger cousin was going to a kicking camp at Clemson, and I listened to Dabo Sweeney talk there. And I mean, it just like fired me up. I mean, he's a great motivational speaker, and it fired me up. And I was like, I want more of this feeling. And so I started just searching on YouTube, just looking up motivational speakers and different people. And then I started hearing Gary, and it really resonated with me. And so I just started consuming more and more of his content. And a lot of my favorite bits of it was just him talking about um, how, like, if you're doing stuff for your parents, you're going to end up, you think you're doing something good for them, but it's going to end up hurting you and your relationship with them. And
Mm,
it
the
just really
resentment.
clicked. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is not what I need to be doing. And so I took a pretty hard 180. I went and did a year long program. I ended up coaching there. And then I tell people, then I started selling chicken. I became a hospitality director at Chick-fil-A and really enjoyed it. But that was kind of the journey, and how, and like I was honestly so much happier once I made that decision, made that switch. And so just felt like I owed Gary a lot in a sense, but also just trusted him a ton. And so when it came time for VeeFriends, I was just like, yeah, I want to hear this guy speak. And so getting into VeeFriends was really just me buying into going to his conference, and led me on this crazy journey where now I get to hang out and talk to you.
I love that. I did come across a tweet from November 14th, 2022, his
Mhm.
birthday. You say, "Happy birthday, Gary. You have changed my life and helped me to pursue happiness over expectations of others. I'm forever grateful for you and for you in this special moment between my two heroes. Much love, Gary." And I think that was a photo of you, Gary, and what I only can assume is your father.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and it's cool having gone that route and kind of listened to him talk about just relationships with parents. I stopped doing what I think my parents wanted and the path that I think they wanted me to take. And my relationship with my parents has never been better.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you didn't have any kind of Web3 background, crypto background. Gary was like many, Gary was your kind of red pill to this world.
Oh yeah. Gary's like, buy ETH. I'm like, oh, that's that. I always thought of it as like the Bitcoin knockoff, you know? Like I didn't
Yeah,
I thought it was the
yeah,
same thing. I thought it was just like shitty Bitcoin, you know? So I was like,
totally.
okay, Gary, I'll go buy some shit Bitcoin, not knowing it was like
Amazing.
a completely different thing.
Amazing. So you were attracted because it was very exciting, but there was a lot going on. So it sounds like you were excited about when he was pulling back the curtain on the access tokens and the bowling boas and the dinner deers. Like you just wanted a chance to get closer to him after what he was doing in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go for any of the access tokens. I looked at the yard sale one, but that one went for crazy money. I really just wanted, I mean, so much of my initial draw to him was listening to his keynotes. And so that's what I viewed VeeCon as. And I'm like, yeah, with how he was talking about it, I'm like, yeah, I figure I can go to these 3 years and presumably get my money back at the end of it with whatever the value of this NFT is. And so that's really how I got started. And it was funny. I tried to mint three on like the opening launch, and I was clicking it, and there was errors and whatever. And I looked at my, and then next thing I know, I clicked to buy one, and it said I had no more ETH. I'm like, what the hell? I have plenty of ETH. And I go back to my wallet, and I'd accidentally gotten six of them. I'm like, well, here we go.
I mean,
So,
very simple to do at that stage in the game.
yeah, no, he
The
was
first time with a
crazy.
new toy piece of technology. So back then, we're talking May 2021. Are
Mhm.
you there weren't wasn't really Twitter Spaces at the time, but are you tapping into the Discord, the clubhouses that were going on in those OG days? Were you like connecting with the community, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, Twitter and Discord were really my spaces. Just talking to people as much there. And I think like the bigger groups got to be where it was like a little bit much and overwhelming to me, but was really just connecting with a couple people here and there. And I'd say the first VCon was when it started to like really form true connections for me.
Yeah, I mean that for the first time for many people, myself included, I started to see in a whole new I started to see VeeFriends and where we were going in a whole new way. And there was a lot of moments in there, specifically Gary's closing keynote. That was just a banger to me. That was a real moment. His closing keynote of VeeCon 1. But going through some of your stuff, I already referenced that picture with your dad, but it sounds like it's something you started, and it's from what I gather, just kind of looking from the far sidelines, you kind of pulled him in, and he got deep into it, which I would only assume could help the relationship. So like talk to me about that because it's a very foreign thing for a lot of people. Like, what is this technology? Why is this due to $40,000? All of the above, all of these crazy things. So how did and as a father myself, like I'm curious too. I'm curious on a lot of levels, but talk to me about that little uh, onboarding of your dad.
Yeah. I mean, it started originally, I got him like one of the NFTs he paid me back for at Mint. Um, was he's like, yeah, I'll buy one so that I can go to this conference with you. Well, then it went from half an ETH to 7 ETH, and we are like, holy shit, let's get out of here. And so we each sold, I sold his and I sold one of mine, and we were pumped up about that. And he wasn't really down the rabbit hole. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to this conference. He calls me Monkey, so he's like, yeah, I'm going to this conference with Monkey. But once it went up that much, he's like, yeah, well, that's great money. Let's sell. And so we sold, and I still had several uh, VF1s left. So I was like, yeah, I've got you for the conference. I've got you. And I mean, he wasn't down in that world at all. And then my dad, he's very much like doesn't like taking handoffs, gifts, whatever, even from me. And he's like, no, 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 I want to get my own way. Like, I'm getting my own VF1. And so, like, right before he got a dragon, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was from Tyler Dowd. And he got a dragon just really as a way so that he could, like, do his own way of getting into VeeCon. And so he got in. I remember the first day, the line was insane. Like it was crazy wrapped around. My dad shows up, looks at this, doesn't know what the hell VeeFriends is, doesn't know anything. He just sees this line and he's like, hell no. And he looks at me, he goes, have fun. I'm gonna go back to the hotel. And
This is at field
um
day
no, this was
or like
going
the
into the
real.
stadium.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So real day going into the stadium.
Got it.
Yeah, he didn't go to field day. Wasn't his thing. He's like,
Yep.
I'll go hear him speak. And so he's about to go back to the hotel, and I text Jeremy. I'm like, hey man, like, where are you at? And um, he was with like the VDAO group, whatever, that was taking like a big group in up at the front. He's like, hey, oh, I'll come find you. And he came and got me and my dad. And I'm like, Dad, we can go in around this way and we can get in. He's like, okay, I guess I'll go in. And so he goes in and then he just starts listening to everything and starts picking it up. And it was one of the coolest things was at the end, he looks at me and goes, Monkey, Gary's running a fucking business, isn't he? And he's like, this isn't just a bunch of rah, rah, rah hype stuff. He's like, that guy knows what he's doing. He's running a business. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, like this shit's no joke. And it was just like, it was cool seeing that kind of like click of my dad of him. Cause it's like, I'd watched Gary and he just knew of Gary from like things I'd told him and different things like that. But for him to see like Gary's intellect and like knowledge on stuff, it was just a cool click for him to be like, oh, he's running something here. Like this guy knows what he's talking about and he's building something special. And so then after that, he's like, okay, I'll start dabbling in VF2s. And he was getting them, and we were excited on different purchases he got. I remember him getting his first black cat. And we're like, yeah, oh, a VF2 black cat, that's fun. And then he started being like, okay, let's see VF1s and starts looking into that and just started going down that rabbit hole. But it was just a fun thing for us to kind of try to scheme characters and rarities and do all that. And it just got to the point where he was calling me 5 or 6 times a day and being like, well, what do you think about this? I'm like, Dad, I'm at work. He's like, yeah, but I think this might be gone before you're out. And I'm like, all right. 1 second, let me take a bathroom break. And I'd be sitting in there like buying VF1, sitting on the toilet at Chick-fil-A. Like it became this
That's great.
crazy roller coaster, but it was just a ton of fun to get to do it with him.
Yeah, it sounds like a definite amazing like bonding, hobby experience. For just as an aside, you're one of the people for people that are really tapped in, you're one of the people that when your name comes up, people just associate you with the Mora Monkey. Like it's just,
Mhm.
like Josh, Bison, Tom, Catfish, like Ross, Monkey. Is that the origin of it from that being your nickname?
Yeah, my dad, he started calling me Monkey when I was 2 years old. We were at the zoo and I was walking around, jumping up and down, seeing the monkeys. And he looked at my mom and goes, oh, he looks just like the monkeys at the zoo, all arms and legs and no ass. And
Yeah.
27 years later, it's stuck.
Amazing. Cool, because I'm always curious of the origins of why people max you out on a certain character. That's neat that it's that much of a lore in the Brown, family world.
Yeah.
You mentioned the VCon is when it clicked for your dad. What about, I'm curious, like when did you have if you can remember, when do you have a specific moment that you remember it being like, okay, like I'm really gonna dig deep or deeper into this world because you've obviously bought in a big way, huge community guy, you bring the energy, and we'll get to some other stuff in a second. But I'm just curious, like when was there a specific moment that you can recollect that where you just were like, yeah, these are my people, this is my thing.
I mean, it was big on Mint Day. I put a significant portion of my savings in I got a gift goat and then a couple of cores. And so I got the gift goat and then 5 cores. And it was really just from everything I'd listened and my trust in Gary and just my belief in him to kind of like do right by everybody. And I was like, yeah, this is somebody that I believe in. I believe in with my finances as well. And then what happened was I got on a call when he was doing his like white glove service with Rips if you were looking to buy another VF1. And so when I saw that and it was like, oh, this is my chance to really meet the guy that's made such an impact on me. I was like, yeah, I'll sell some stuff off. I'll make sure I get another one. Just getting to meet him and talk to him then, just kind of thank him for what he's meant in my life and just see the genuineness that he carries. It was very much in that moment, I was just like, oh, this is. I already had a lot of belief and it was just like further solidified then.
I love that. And there was something. I mean, there was a lot of content put out, but you could just tell like his conviction, what he was doing. Like he doesn't sell out. There were the K-Swiss shoes and one-off, merch things here and there, but he didn't try to liquidate his audience, as he says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a special time, and you just knew something was up. So it makes a lot of sense that that's your story. So going for a little bit further in the timeline, August 21, speaking of selling things, he does he gets on this like 8 hour or whatever it was, IG live. He's selling these books. If you buy 12 books, you're going to get a surprise, wink, wink, an NFT. What were you thinking then? Like, your conviction is very deep. Talk to me about how you played book games, because I saw that you got in pretty heavy.
Yeah, I mean it was just very much hearing him say like this is something I believe in and very much of this is a huge value for the people that get in. And it was just again putting my money where my mouth is and my belief in him. And I was like, all right, let's do this. I got in heavy. I called my dad. I'm like, hey, dad, like it's happening again. There's another token coming. This is what we got to do. And he's like, all right, let me get some. I called my mom. She's like, okay, I'll get some books too. And so it was just a fun thing. Like we all kind of got in it and just had a lot of belief in it. And I mean, it was something really cool. Was very involved with my fraternity at LSU and very involved with it post LSU in Birmingham. And we were able to get those books to, because I mean, we had a bunch of books. And so we were able to go to a school that just kind of a struggling school and give them to every graduating senior as they crossed, which was pretty awesome just to get to see and just reading the book myself, knowing how impactful that book can be.
Are you the tagline is book games are forever. Since then, we've there's been the marketplace, the book games exchange. We've had Burn Island, Treasure Chest. Which camp are you in? Are you in book games are forever, hodl? Are you get wherever the arb is? Let's get that burn and get that treasure chest. Are you playing in the middle? Are you purple?
Very much in the game of every time there's something where book games can be burned, I sit on the sidelines and just cheer for that number to go up. Just holding on to mine, hoping they get more and more rare. I mean, the only time I've done anything was for the new characters. I burned some on that. And then I burned some on a treasure chest where I could get a bit monkey and basically flip that for a decent profit and then went right back in and got more book games. So
I love that. Which new character were you hot on at that time?
which character what?
Which new character were you big on at that time?
I
We're
mean, it was
going
just
back.
what I had. I had the stuff for the praying mantis, I had the stuff for the
Oh, got it,
alligator.
got it, got
And
it.
so I was like, okay, I've got it. Let's play.
So you got it. I know a lot of people are strategically going after the Red Devil, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of steam behind that one, or the clown, or the ninja was popular at that time. Very interesting. So uh, I remember seeing LSU Tiger, in on the feeds and the Discord and Twitter, but it wasn't really for the first time that you got on my radar with one of the I think viral clips from the 2023 VeeCon, the infamous speech in Gary's garage sale.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if it ever got a name, but I'll read a tweet that you put after, and then I'll let you talk about how that moment came to be because there's so much kind of VeeCon 1, VeeCon 2, I'm sure VeeCon 3 in a couple weeks. There's just gonna be a ton of content, but there's a couple that go viral in our world, right? And for thinking back to VeeCon 2023, that video of you standing in that hall, standing in that garage sale, lane just pops up in my mind as one that did that. So on May 22nd, 2023, you tweeted, please, 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 everyone, do not let the love and positivity from VeeCon stay at VeeCon. Let's spread that across the world. So I'll paint the picture. So you're in the long hair era for Ross. You're
Love it.
standing outside one of these booths. There's a crowd around you, and you just like go on a 1 minute rant about there's negativity in the world. Obviously, VeeCon has an unbelievable aura of kindness and positivity and people doing kind things for each other, saying hello, being the bigger person, all of that. And you were just super adamant and articulate about getting that out into the world. So I would love to hear the context of how that, what was happening and what inspired you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, really, what it boiled down to, well, how it all got started was I had a couple of CNC boxes, and it's funny to see how the market's taken off since then because they were going for like 140 bucks a box at the time,
Yep.
which would be criminal today. Um, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna just have a bunch of just fun games, and we're gonna give away cards. Like, we're just gonna give away all the cards. And so I just got a couple of my friends together. I'm like, hey, just spread the word. Let's do these. And we got a good group together. We were having a ton of fun, and people were playing games, rolling around on the ground, rock, paper, scissors, lightsaber wars, all sorts of stuff to try to win these cards. We were having a great time. And I just very much was seeing everybody smiling, seeing everybody laugh, seeing some people win and then give cards to other people, just seeing a bunch of acts of kindness. And it just made me like think and reflect on the whole weekend and just how amazing and positive and loving everybody was. Even some people that weren't always loving and positive online. And so it's like all the negativity, all the stuff that was spiraling around the price of NFTs dropping, scams going on, different things. Like none of that was present at VeeCon. VeeCon was just all focused on people loving each other, being kind, and it was just such an aura of that. And it was amazing. Everybody had a smile on their face, and we're just so happy to be a part of that. And so I just didn't want to waste that opportunity. And just my cry to everybody was don't let VeeCon stay at VeeCon because there was such a specialness and such a love there. And I just was begging everybody, I'm like, take this out of VeeCon with you. It's like take this back to your home, take this back to your family, take this back to your friends, take this back in the VeeFriends community. And I mean, I think it has been something that people have done a really good job of. I mean, just looking at this past year, the community seemed tighter and more giving. I mean, you see the NFT train that Soggy got started and just the constant giveaways and people winning things on stream, handing it to somebody else. The amount
Mm.
of times people have called to check in on each other, sent texts, sent updates, and that's one of the most special things that VeeFriends has kind of formed is just this extremely loving community where it's not really just something that's said, it's something that's acted on and where people are really coming together and like living out what they're saying in terms of just loving and kindness. And so I mean that was kind of that moment at VeeCon, and it's been really really cool to see it lived out.
I love that. Thank you for taking us there. And yeah, your thoughts on what's happening with this group of people uh, that is fluid is just right. You hit the nail right on the head. So many amazing things happening, and that's what really pushed me. Talking about this podcast, like first I just wanted to document like I just believed in VeeFriends and Gary, similar to you, just jumping in, and I didn't have the financial resources, but I wanted to put a flag in the ground. I wanted to to be a bigger part of it and tell a story. And then as I started talking to more people, I'm like, just got just as bullish on the people in the community as the actual project. And I mean, it's time and time again. You see amazing things, on a stream, on the timeline, in Discord, but like really talking to people like this and like hearing the stories that don't get airplay, like there's just as much, if not more, happening behind the scenes. People giving very graciously, people engaging in amazing acts of kindness without wanting the spotlight on them. This community is just undefeated, and I'm really excited. I'm so excited for this new group of people that haven't been to a VeeCon yet, that are going for the first time in a few weeks. Like that is probably like my top three on my list, top three of like reasons why I'm excited, just for other people to experience it. And I really mean that, because I just know, like walking in there, just all of the string of amazing moments and amazing people they're going to meet. With that, with that, we are not guaranteed. They're contractually obligated just to give us 3 years of econ. This is coming up. We're talking on July 25th, 2024. The last, quote unquote, last one, or the third one, is only a few weeks away. If for whether or not there's future VeeCons, and someone's listening to this going to VeeCon 25, or this is the last one, in your own words, talk to us about what VeeCon meant to you, VeeCon 1 and 2, like as an event.
Yeah, no, kind of have a crazy take on it just because VeeCon 1 was very much just a really special time with my best friend and my dad. And so getting that, um, and just kind of that was really the start of our journey together in this. I mean, my best friend has come to every event, whether it's been Gift Goat, VeeFriends, VeeCon, whatever. He's been at that along with my dad. And so it was kind of just the start of this journey for the three of us together. And that's really what that event was for me. And then VeeCon 2, got very fortunate and found the love of my life there. So that was kind of the defining moment for that. I mean, it was so special seeing so many people I love and care about and getting to connect with them. But I mean, meeting Sky and starting that journey with her will forever be what VeeCon 23 is defined as for me. And so it's just like these two big moments in back-to-back VeeCon years. I mean, it was just so special. And now for this next year, of course, my dad and John are coming with. Now this time, instead of meeting her there, Sky's coming with us and another one of my best friends. So it's just like, just getting to see this like circle of people on this journey just start to like expand out has really, really been kind of the defining part of VeeCon for me. And I am so thankful for it.
That is amazing. And it's so true that, the tagline, strangers become acquaintances, acquaintances become friends, friends become family. That's super true for you.
Quite
Uh,
literally, will become family.
Amazing. Amazing. So we mentioned the word, both of us have thrown around the word community
Mhm.
in the NFT era, especially that bull run. It was thrown around. Oh, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing the name or the
Right.
word community. What does that word mean to you?
Community is I think there's different levels of community in everybody's life. Like you have your core community, like the people that it can be 3 in the morning and you did something horrible, they're going to be right there to back you up and help you. It's like your closest group of community, and then you have it's just like a little bit bigger than that. It's like the people that genuinely care about you and will check on you and be there for you. And I think VeeFriends falls into both of those categories. It's like me and so many other people have people that are now in their core that they met through VeeFriends. It's somebody that they met through there, a couple people they met through there, because you're pulling from such an amazing group of people that are ride or die, there for you for anything, no matter how tough the situation is. And then I think most of your VeeFriends community falls just right outside of that. It's just this wonderful group of people that are there for you in tough times. Will check on you. Will just continue to show goodness in the world. One of my biggest beliefs in life motto is kindness multiplies. And I think it's something so beautiful just to get to see the multiplication effect of kindness in the VeeFriends community. And it's also just like such a constant reminder, and me getting to see it in the community is something that helps me to kind of spread that outwards. And so, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the
No,
most direct answer, but I guess that's VeeFriends community
I
for me.
yeah, I think well, hey, it's a really unique question where you can go through so many ways. I love that. It's very unique. I love that. And it's so true. Like it's not an all-encompassing thing. We all have our little niches. As far you know, I've chatted with enough people now to really get as someone that's on the side of the fence of strictly just community, not really in the Vayner world or the VeeFriends world. As someone that is on, your Vayner X, so a little bit closer to the sun, as we say, are you seeing, um, how do I say, as far as community? Because this whole thing has started with Gary. Without Gary, this doesn't exist, or without Sasha and Tamara Vaynerchuk, this doesn't exist. But Gary, everything has from the top down. He was giving for years, building this community. Now that you are a little bit closer, do you have a greater sense of that? Are you more bullish on what this can become and the people in it, or is it all the same? Less. I'll let you take that wherever you want to, if I'm making any sense at all. I'm just curious because it's a very unique perspective to be, but have a foot in both sides uh, of the aisle, so to speak, as far as
Yeah.
perspective.
No, I definitely would say more bullish than ever. And I think it comes down to two things. One, just getting to meet and know more people on the VeeFriends team and see the incredible people and the incredible minds that they have is so encouraging to see. I mean, even the point of getting to room with Corso, it's like, and then just talking to different people on the team on a daily basis, just in not talking VeeFriends, but just talking to them as people and just seeing how smart they are, how kind they are, how much they embody the things that we look up to in VeeFriends just makes me so encouraging on the project. And then I think the biggest thing is just being very blessed to have gotten to have more interactions with Gary and having him as my ultimate boss, like seeing how he displays this huge character that we all see on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And so often people say, like, don't meet your heroes, don't meet your heroes. But getting to interact with him and getting to work with him and seeing that kindness and that genuineness, just that extreme authenticity that so many of us fell in love with in watching his stuff and seeing it amplified on a personal level instead of the opposite, it just could not make me more bullish.
That's fantastic. I love that. Thinking back, just this is more of just a fun aside. Thinking back, that so much has happened. One of my favorite things, I bring this up a lot, but some of my favorite pieces of content are the year-end reviews. Like this is everything that happened to VeeFriends 2021. This is everything that happened 22. Was there a collab or an activation or a moment that just kind of blew you away? Going back to some of your favorite moments.
Motivation. I think walking into a Toys R Us and seeing VeeFriends everywhere was pretty much like a holy shit, this is happening moment. Like going to a place you grew up going to and seeing VeeFriends on the shelves in prominent places. And like I went to the one in New York and they were everywhere. Like there was a VeeFriends section. And I mean just VeeFriends galore. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
I love that. Uh, I was gonna, while I was asking you that, I remember seeing that the Halloween float,
Mhm.
and it was a great piece of content. Obviously a prominent event in New York, but I remember you and a couple other guys from the team like dancing, just looking like you guys were having the time of your life. But a lot of people just that's a highlight for them. Super cool moment. But yeah, anytime they teamed up with a colossal brand like the Toys R Us, Mattel, it's just like you just got to stop and shake your head. And sometimes it gets lost because there's so many announcements. There's so much happening. It's easy
Mhm.
to just kind of blow by it and it's just another number. It's just another drop. But that's why I love taking the time to just kind of reflect because man, like Toys R Us is huge. Like that's my childhood.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, quick couple questions before we get into the last segment here. Obviously, you're a moral monkey guy, but which character do you need to spend more time with to by osmosis to get more of whatever trait they're putting out into the world?
Yeah. Moral Monkey's definitely the character everybody thinks of me as. I mean, my dad calls me Monkey, but like if I had to boil it down, my true favorite character would actually be the Gratitude Gorilla. It's something my dad got me started on a couple years ago, just waking up and saying, thinking, writing down three things that you're grateful for. I started doing that, and I mean, it was crazy just the impact and the difference I started seeing in my day, just changing my perspective in the morning by starting my day with gratitude. I mean, was so impactful. And then took it a step further. I mean, working at Chick-fil-A, I mean, I had some of the best coworkers and just a phenomenal, phenomenal boss. But I mean, I also worked with some people that drove me fucking nuts, you know? And I had customers that were insane and screaming at me over pickles not being on their sandwich, you know? And so in those moments, I started to develop the gratitude habit of thinking of three things that I'm grateful for any person whenever I start to get upset with them, you know, and whether that be your spouse, your partner, your friend, somebody you don't like, you know, it's like it just really started to change my perspective on that. And I mean, there was one guy I remember, I worked with him and he just was driving me crazy. And so many of my thoughts were I was headed to the military at that time. That was my plan. And I was like, you know what? Working with him is helping me to become a better leader. You know, I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful to have the experience of learning how to lead alongside a leader that might be lacking in some of these skills that are very important to me. You know, and my that's not the path that I went down, but I was like, yeah, working alongside him and learning those skills might save somebody's life one day. You know, and just like you start to think about like the gratitude and why things are good and like situations and anger just starts to like completely disappear from your body. And I just think gratitude is so so important just in everything in life.
Totally. And it's so serendipitous you're sharing this now because literally today, just a few hours ago, I was reorganizing some things and I found a journal that I used to do every day, three things from 2017, and I was just reading it and I got all of those amazing vibes just by reading, what I wrote 7 years ago from what I'm grateful for. Um, Amazing. So many people, Ross, we could go on forever talking about acts of kindness, whether it's you yourself, and so many times you've just been gracious and giving, or anyone else on the team. So many people do it out in front and or behind closed doors. But we have a lot of very humble people in the community. In the spirit of blowing the whistle, I want to do it in a kind way, in a good way. So, is there anyone in your Vayner world, anyone in the community that you can think of that you want to blow the whistle on in a kind way and give roses to?
Man, I think it cut out on that last bit there.
Just someone who you want to blow the whistle on in a kind way and give roses to, someone that we may not know.
Yeah. Um I want to give a couple shout outs to a couple people that maybe aren't the most in front of the camera, loudest. One of my very first friends at VeeCon ever. Gabriel, people know him as the Determined Dolphin, but I mean, not big in the spotlight, but just a genuine, amazing guy.
Great
And
dude.
I mean, just incredible, but just not somebody that people see all the time. Tech up in Boston is uh, just has a heart of gold, and every time I've gotten to interact with him has just been really special and life giving to me. And he's not somebody that tries to take the spotlight for himself either, but just loves so selflessly. A lot of people know Soggy by his big pulls and those big crazy moments, but the thing I want to give Soggy his flowers for his true intentionality. I mean, it's this guy is very much there for anybody in the community, very much checking in on people. It's I see him and respect him so much more for his intentionality than for any black cat or any card he's ever pulled. And I want to go for one more, push it to four. But Andrew, my coworker, he was the guy we were all screaming about getting him on the last stream, but just makes work such a joy and just has such a contagious happiness and giving spirit about him that is just incredible to be around. And I mean, I talked about kindness multiplying, but I very much believe that whatever you put out into the world is going to multiply. And I think Andrew has such a kind, happy, loving heart that very much multiplies across our team and across our office as a whole.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Ross. Yeah, and great. I don't know Andrew, but the other three, I couldn't agree more. Um, Before we get into our last segment, I just want to thank you, give you some roses. Like I've heard the stories, and you just are one of those people that create those positive ripples that we can go on infinitely. So thank you for being there for the community. With your kindness and just your amazing energy. No one knows how to ramp up a stream like you, whether it's eating cards or whatever. All those shenanigans, but it's all good, man. It's all for the culture, and really appreciate you coming on and looking forward to seeing you at VeeCon.
Man, and dude, shout out to you. And something I very much admire is just like your consistency. Do things and you better this community, and you do it in a really cool, consistent way. With your streams, with your podcasts, like you are very in it, and you're constantly in it. In such an incredible way that's bettering this community. I'm often come in with my streams, like I call them my like quarterly streams where I come in and do crazy energy and do all this. But I mean, you're just constantly living out what VeeFriends is, and I'm very thankful to have you as a community member.
I appreciate that. Really do.
Much
So
love.
for our last piece here, we're gonna play micro macro Spitfire. I'm gonna throw a bunch of questions at you, rapid fire, and you could answer very generally, yes, no, one word answer in the macro, or you can get your microscope out and really give us the reason why. So here we go.
Do it.
Micro macro Spitfire with LSU Tiger Ross Brown. Ross, favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Favorite teacher? I don't know if this is a cheating answer, but I'm going to go with a coach. Mike Heineman was my middle school basketball coach. And I mean, truly one of the most impactful people that I've ever had grace my life. And I appreciate him even more now that I'm an adult. And, when you get done with work, sometimes you can be tired, but this guy every day was just pouring into me, loving on me, checking on me, just going so far beyond like his scope of work to really care for me in a time that wasn't necessarily easy for me. And I mean, he very, very much changed my life.
Of that. What was your favorite IP as a kid?
Favorite IP Pokemon now or as a kid?
Wherever you want to go. Both. The answer is always both.
Right now, the latest Spider-Man I think was just incredible, so nostalgic, so good. As a kid, remember the Titans.
Oh, classic.
So good.
Secret talent you have that most people don't know.
Secret talent. Ooh. Gonna pass on this one.
What is your favorite piece of VeeFriends physical memorabilia?
Favorite piece of physical memorabilia? I'm gonna go with this chain that Andrew got customized for me. It is a
Oh, nice.
Moral Monkey wearing an LSU jersey.
Amazing. Well, while we're there, who's your favorite LSU Tiger in athletics of all time?
I mean, it's hard not to go with the obvious answer of Joe Burrow,
JB.
but
Yeah.
I'll put a spin on it and say Skylar Green, LSU's return man, wide receiver and running back in 2002. He got me started on LSU back when I was little. Had no other ties to LSU. I just watched him play and was like, this guy's phenomenal.
All right. Nice backstory there.
Mhm.
Bougie hotel or hiking and camping in the woods?
Both.
If it was illegal to have more than one social media platform, which one would you keep?
Twitter.
Which VeeFriend needs to be voted into the White House in 2024?
Moral Monkey. We need more morals in the White House.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
There was a small basement neck deep concert, and it was electric.
As we said before, this is on contractually the last VeeCon in 2024. Uh, is there going to be a VeeCon 2025? And if so, where?
Sure hope so. And I'm going to guess LA Part 2. I'm going to say this year's going to be amazing to the point where we got to go
Oh,
back.
running it back. Encore. Paper Hands Pony or the Koala?
Paper Hands Pony.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
You say wine, beer, or coffee?
Yep.
None of the above.
Okay. Gratitude Gorilla or Patient Panda?
Gratitude Gorilla.
Would you rather have a 2 hour group dinner experience with Gary, you, and 9 other people, or a 10-minute one-on-one?
You said with Gary?
Yep.
Um, Definitely with 9 other people. I've been blessed to get time with him. I want to make sure to spread that out.
I love that. And with that said, I'm going to tweak the last one a little bit. The question usually is if you could ask Gary one question, what would it be? But I'm going to spin it for you. What if someone has, assuming you have no context of the person, what is the one question someone should ask Gary?
I think it's difficult because it's going to be very different for each person. But depending on the amount of time you have with Gary, it's also going to change a lot. I think if you have one question and you're an entrepreneur, business person at all, like you have no better person to ask at all than to ask him how to best grow your business. If you're struggling emotionally, I think that's going to be 100% your best thing is he's very good at getting to the root of that and being very honest with you and telling you how it is. And so I don't think I can give an exact answer. I think very much ask him the thing you most want to change and how to help.
Oh, I love that. Ross, I can't thank you enough for coming on. You've been on my list a long time to talk to, so I really appreciate you coming on. Great, you're just one of the great ambassadors to this community, and yeah, can't wait to see you in LA in a few weeks.
Thrilled, man. No, I seriously, I've said before, but I genuinely appreciate you and all you do. Um, you're you said it to me, but I mean, you're such a huge, consistent ambassador pushing this train forward, and you do it in a way that you have so much integrity and character in how you do it, so that I'm very thankful for you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, guys, find this guy at VeeCon, give him a hug, take the selfie, do the whole thing. Ask him to eat a card. We'll see you soon, Ross. Thank you, Spud.
Much love.